One of the things that's been pretty relevant to a lot of people who are phoning and asking this morning, and I'm simply here to ask the question, seems that MPs do not have to queue for 9 hours. They can take up to 4 people. I don't know if this is true. That's what I'm being told. And they can get to the front of the queue for the lying in state. Is that true?
So MPs have been allowed to go into Westminster Hall and have been given 4 guest passes to bring people along with them. That's when the Queen Mother lay in state, MPs had free access and any other pass holders had free access. There's a big row going on because staffers, people working in my office, others aren't entitled. They have to go and queue up like everybody else. But this is a big constitutional matter. The Queen is laying in state in Westminster Hall, in the Palace of Westminster, where we work. It's appropriate that we should all be able to go and pay our respects as...
Do you understand? And I'd hate you to... Listen, I'm a staunch royalist, Tim, and I'm a believer in our Constitution, but would you understand people phoning me and texting me this morning saying that is yet another example of the haves and the have-nots? If we, the general public, who pay all the taxes and who are royalists or not royalists, want to queue, we have to queue for 10 hours, and your average MP can fall out of his or her office in Westminster and be there and take some people. To me, the Queen has shown the way forward by saying, I'd like 200 of the NHS to be front and centre. If I was an MP, I'd be giving my tickets to 4 people in my office and standing at the back. Don't you think that would be more appropriate?
Well, it's up to MPs who they invite. For example, I went the other evening and one of the people that I invited to come with me was a constituent who's 96, who was born within a month of the Queen, who was no way he could have stood for all that.
Well, I'm going to stick up for you because somebody's just texted me and said if your average MP queued for 9 hours, they'd say, haven't you got better things to do in the government and running the country?
Well,
and
Jeremy,
so,
we can't win. That's the whole point of it. I mean, we're doing as much as we can to facilitate as many people being able to go along and pay their respects. We're part of local services and ceremonies as well, where people can come along and have their moment with their monarch, as somebody called it. But hey, you know this. MPs can't win. We're damned if we do, damned if we don't.
Just one final thing.
I felt very privileged to be able to go and pay my respects to Her Majesty. It was very moving.
Let's go to the Isle of Wight. Joanna, good morning. Welcome to Talk TV Breakfast.
Oh, good morning. My point has just been mentioned in one of your tweets, but it's the fact that I don't think it's right that the MPs should not have to queue, because lots of people are having to take a day off with no pay, but they just carry on regardless. But even worse is the fact they're allowed to take 4 mates along. I said earlier, Joe, and I just... What politicians need to do, in my humble opinion, is try and understand, or at least give the impression that they understand, how difficult it is for people right now. Exactly. And when you're struggling to pay your bills, and an MP isn't, when you want to show respect to your monarch after 70 years, and as you quite rightly just said, let's get that out there, people, many thousands, will have taken an unpaid day's leave to show their respect. You walk out of a Westminster Palace bar, presumably, down the hall, you get to beat the queue and you can take 4 people. I would challenge any MP, as I challenged Tim Loughton earlier, to give their tickets to 4 people in their constituency who maybe want to go. There was a story just then about a guy who's too frail to queue. Would that not be, morally, emotionally, in every which way, wouldn't that be a good look? That should be. And another thing is it should be published how many MPs have taken advantage of this and whether they were their own constituents that in need that they took with them.
Joanna, thank you so much. Were you a royalist?
Well, I'm very happy to live because, quote this old Churchill thing, it's got its bad bits, but I can't think of anything better. Imagine having, I don't know, Tony Blair as the head of state. I've no doubt he would apply.
Yeah, I think he'd probably apply. Listen, thank you so much indeed for tuning in, Joanna from the Isle of Wight.